Happy Sunday, crew, and welcome to our first edition of a Sunday Emotions Room. We can't fit it in tomorrow, so here we are on a Sunday, and maybe it's because we lost to Amorim Ball yesterday. If there was one manager that I didn't want to lose to in pre-season, and I know it's not that deep, I know in the grand scheme of things, does it really matter? But you didn't want to lose to Amorim yesterday, did you? And not in that manner. Amorim's had 4 games under his belt as AC Milan manager. He's drawn 2, lost 1, 3-0 to Chelsea, who are rivals of ours this year in the league. And yeah, kind of. I mean, I'm going to get Dan's reaction on this. We're going to get straight into it, but I'm not going to say they played us off the park, but it weren't far off that, if I'm honest. They dominated the ball for large parts of the game. I was not happy at what I was watching, and looking at Michael Carrick's post-match on MUTV, he's basically saying, "Oh, we just played badly today." Is it that simple? Is it that simple? And you know what? When I'm talking to my mum about football, shout out Mumsy, but when I'm talking to my mum about football, that's fine for my mum to say they just played badly today. Hopefully they'll improve
Yeah.
next game. And maybe it is that simple, but from your manager, I think you just want to hear a little bit more. You want to hear a little bit more as to why we played the way we played. Why did we drop off so much compared to our previous performances? And, I guess, Dan, to open up, is this worrying? Does preseason matter? Are these, is this the sort of performance we needed in front of maybe INEOS? Because the transfer market, we don't seem to be doing anything. I mean, I've asked you a whole bunch of questions there, but what did you think about yesterday's performance to start?
Yeah, performance-wise, I think it was refreshing to see a start where we don't go a goal behind, should I say? We went a goal up front, which was a bit refreshing. But then at the same time, it was a bit of what we always see, where we see a corner routine from Bruno, and then someone that can put a head on the ball scores a goal. We haven't got Casemiro, so Maguire's done it. Then
Yeah.
after that, we didn't really. So at that point, I'm thinking, right, let's kick on now. We should get a few goals. I'm thinking, oh yeah, Milan, they lost against Chelsea, as you've said in the intro there, 3-0. We're going to batter them now. We're
Yep.
going to do what Chelsea did to them. And then we just sort of do what we always do and sort of take our foot off the ball and our minds out of the game almost and sit back and think, yeah, we're 1-0 up, we're fine. And we're not fine. And then obviously Amorim's not a bad coach. I'm not going to be a hypocrite and start saying he's completely crap. He's not a bad coach, is he? It's just that it just didn't fit for us. And it showed. They took over. Possession wise, it were looking at there was one point it was 70-30 possession wise. And I know it's not all about possession,
Mate,
and not really a possession team per se, but that's what we're trying to be.
yes, but that's not good. That's not good. I
No.
was watching it, Dan, and that's the first time in pre-season where I thought, oh my God, we can't get hold of the ball here. And
Yeah.
Milan are not playing spectacular one-touch passing, top technical players. They're playing simple passes, and we just seemed 5 yards behind everyone yesterday. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
is it? This could sound ridiculous. Was it Amorim's system shocking the players? I've seen a clip after the game, and every single player has gone over to Amorim to embrace him, apart from Mainu, Rashford, and Dallo, who maybe embraced him beforehand. And to be fair to Dallo, I knock that fella a lot. He's very professional, isn't he? He
Yeah.
realizes that this is not the time and the place to
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
embrace Amorim. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll do that in the tunnel.
Yeah.
Very professional, Dallo. You know, is he good enough for Manchester United? Is he good enough to help us go back to the top of the Premier League? I'm not sure. But as for professionalism, I really do like Dallo, and he grows on me every single time. It seems like he doesn't embrace him on the pitch, and everyone else does. And obviously, as I've
Mm.
just said now, the obvious of Mainu and Rashford walk away from him. How do you feel about? I know we've gone off subject a little bit there, and we were talking about the possession and how we performed. Is that a big deal to you? The players embracing Amorim on the sidelines, knowing that Carrick has played a major part in turning their fortunes around and getting them into third place last season. Does that affect you in any way? The players embracing Amorim?
No, not at all, really. It's just what I expected. I expect Maynard not to go anywhere near him because he didn't play him, and I
Yeah,
respect that also. Rashford the same, although Rashford was at fault with Amorim, not the other way around. But the players embracing him. I mean, end of the day, they'd embrace
Yeah,
Mourinho, would have thought. They'd
true.
embraced Van Gaal, the ones that know him, like Luke Shaw. So I don't really see an issue with that, because end of the day, a lot of these players that embraced him got a lot of minutes under him, and
Yeah.
they let him down in a sense. And again, I'm not saying he's the best coach in the world, because obviously I have slated him, but ultimately they have let him down also. Not willing to run, not willing to learn the formation, not willing to try, a lot of them at times. So end of the day, like I say, why not? This is what
Yeah, yeah,
happens in
totally.
football.
Yeah, yeah,
They'd
yeah.
all be licking the ass of Enrique, let's say, even though they've not played for him, for example. So it's what happens in club football. Has
That's
he
a
done
valid
anything
point.
drastically bad in terms of being a person? No, I don't think he has. I think what happened is it got built up to this. We need to smash Amorim, and I'm not sure where that came from, but apparently there was a rumor that there were club staff that were desperate for Man United
I've
to
read that.
batter
Yeah.
AC Milan. And again, I don't know if that's made up or where it's come from, but again, a lot of staff and a
And
lot of players liked Amorim, so it
but
poo-poos all
I
that
believe
basically.
that, Dan, because I was watching something on Rio Ferdinand's YouTube the other day. He went into Carrington, I believe. I don't know if you've seen it, and just had a chat with a few of the players and saw a bit of the training. And one of
Yeah,
the feedback from the coaches and some of the staff was that Carrick really drills home importance of matches, of certain teams and certain history.
yeah,
So I do believe Carrick maybe would have put some importance and said, look, I don't know. This is your old manager. Make sure you step up and
but
perform. I'm not sure he would have. I'm not
that
sure
don't
he
work
would have
though,
said
does it?
that. No, I'm not sure he would have said that, right? But I do think there has been some maybe from the staff saying, look, boys, prove that we've kicked on. Prove that we've improved. And again, it's a poor performance. But let's just forget Amorim for a second, because just zoning in on Amorim, and it's just a waste of time, really. Let's look at the performance. Andre Santos, I've been very impressed with him in all the preseason games. I think yesterday was the first game he seemed to be. I say
Yeah,
this a
just
lot. When my midfielder's lunging into tackles a lot, for me, that means you've not read the game well. You're off it. You're not controlling it as much. And he was all over the place a little bit yesterday, wasn't he, Andre Santos? Do you believe that was his worst performance so far in a United shirt?
yeah, it was. It probably was his worst performance in the time he's played football. Probably. I may have not watched him to fact check that, but it was pretty bad in my opinion. I think for me, I think again, AC Milan sort of set up. As much as I don't rate them, I don't think they're the best in the world. I think they're set up pretty well to nullify a lot of our players that can actually dictate play and create something. So you could see it was like man to man against Tillemans, same against Santos. And I think that is a worry in itself, that you've got players that are not all that great, but they're able to mark you out of the game to a certain extent, or make you
Yeah.
go long. And that was the problem as well, is we weren't controlling the game, we weren't dictating play, we were going long, we were going back to
We
the
kept
old
doing that
sort of counter
Martinez
attack.
over the top, innit?
Yeah, over
Martinez
the
over the
top,
top.
where that's where the
He thinks
space
he's
was.
right saucy with that, doesn't he,
Yeah,
Martinez? And
and
sometimes he
it's
plays
all right
it
to do it
well,
now
but
and again. Yeah,
he
but
seems to rely on it. He just dilly dallies on the ball, Martinez. And I'm getting a little bit fed up of the style of play we play with him. And it's very Ten Hag style, playing from the
yeah,
back and trying to figure. Just play it simple into the midfielders, Martinez. And now and again, if you see something obvious over the top, fine, play it. But he dilly dallies on the ball. There's a few times that you're looking at Tillerman saying, here, just give it to me here. I'm here. And he's
yeah,
he's rolling the ball over his foot, Martinez, trying to find, Mr. Dictator. It's like, mate, just release the ball before you get injured, pal.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
release the ball before you roll your ankle or roll your kneecap or something. I'm getting a little bit fed up with Martinez, and our defense looked absolutely all over the place with him coming back into it.
yeah.
Um, it's worrying. It's worrying, but it is pre-season. Back to my original question, and again, I keep asking you 10 questions at once. How do you feel about Carrick just saying, "Listen, we just played badly"? Is that enough? Is that enough of an
Yeah,
explanation?
it's hard with Carrick because he doesn't say much, and I think he purposefully doesn't say much. He doesn't want to give much away. I think he's seen the mistakes of coaches in the past that have tried to overanalyze things and give too much tactics, and then that gets ripped to shreds as well at the same time. I think Van Gaal used to try and do it. I think Amorim, they were trying to get him to do it. So I think going back to Carrick, I think that is what I expect from Carrick, a really simplistic answer. It's pretty much black or white with Carrick. And I don't know if that's because he's trying to hide things or it's because he's just that simple himself. And that's my fear about Carrick, is that he's pretty simple. So yeah, I wouldn't be happy with that, just to say we just didn't play well today. I just think there's reasons why we looked better against other teams. There's reasons for that, because other teams were up to speed in certain circumstances, because certain players that can create had more space and more freedom. That's another reason. And Mbeumo had been on good form, started games and scored goals for us. Look, we'd gone behind in 2 games quite early on, and that was concerning me. So to come back and actually win a game 2-1, fine. But again, just going back to what you're saying about Carrick, I think it is very simplistic, but I can't work out whether that's just him being simple or him just trying to just not give too much away in interviews and press conferences, because he's very bland, he's very vanilla, he's very just nothing to him.
It's so funny you say that. There's a clip going around, I think, from Laurie Whitwell, and it's him saying hello to Amorim, and Amorim says to Laurie, "Do you miss me?" And Laurie Whitwell says, "Yeah, I miss you, but I miss your press conferences." That's what he says to him.
Yeah.
And then Amorim gets back and says, "It's boring now, right?" And I don't know if he's trying to, like, that's a jibe towards Carrick, whether he means it or not. But he has a point, and that kind of goes with what you've just said, right? That Carrick's so monotone sometimes and just doesn't give enough. And I think there's pros and cons to that, you know what I mean? But listen, I don't need my manager to be a spectacular press conference guy. Amorim was that, and got no results. Carrick's the opposite and has got good results for us in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. Look, Michael comes in here and says 3 of the goals were Shaw not doing his job. AC Milan wasn't spectacular. He took advantage of the obvious weakness we have. I totally agree with you, Michael, and how we still relying on Luke Shaw. How we're still relying on Luke Shaw is unbelievable. Jed Spence just went to, is it Inter Milan, actually?
Inter Milan.
Yeah, for 30 million.
Not a bad fee.
I look
at that Euros as well, wasn't it?
Things. Yeah, on the grand scheme of things, 30 million for Jed Spence. I mean, is Jed Spence Manchester United standard? I mean, these days I'd say he is. Yes, I think we need to get past the fact that Manchester United standard.
Is he better than our current fullbacks?
We need reinforcements here, and yes, Luke Shaw was to blame for a lot of it. But when you look at the game in general, Michael, we couldn't get hold of the ball. They were just playing, and there was a lot of their big. I mean, this is going off subject a little bit. Gonzalo Ramos, right? What a goal. The link-up play, knock it here, knock it there, knock it to the wing, get in the box, head a goal. I was so pissed off to see that when we didn't play him like a minute in the World Cup for Portugal, So great signing for Amorim there. And you know what? That's so funny. That kind of brings me on to the next subject. Where's Sesko? I know he's injured. We don't have a striker. We don't. No. I know we've been playing in Burmo there, but you look at it and you think Gonzalo Ramos, right? I know he's not fat, but that was brilliant play from him, and exactly what we need.
Play. Yeah,
it was proper striker play. Number 9 picks it up 1-2 with someone, asks for it back. You've all seen the goal that I'm watching here now. Asks for it back, nice quick feet, knocks it to the wing, gets in the box, header. And you look at Dallo, and Dallo just nods his head after he scores the header. I kept my eyes on Dallo. Dallo just nods his head after he scores the header. Actually saying, great goal, mate, great goal. That was all you. And, Sesko, I'm excited for him to be back. We see pictures of him looking like a fucking beast online, right? All blammo, but he's fucking injured. Dan, I'm really worried. Really, I've gone from being, it didn't last long, but I'm now really worried about our team and our depth. Are we going to do any more business here? I'm not saying you should know the answer to this, Dan, but we need a left back. We look like we need another marquee midfielder, really and truly. Yeah. Don't we need another striker?
Oh yeah, we've been saying that though, haven't we, all along? That we definitely know we need another striker because Sesko has got an injury or two in him, I'm not generally he's not out for too long, but he has got an injury or two in him, and also it takes him a while to get back up to speed for me. And I think I'm not overly sure that Carrick fancies him week in week out. I could be wrong about this, but I'm not overly sure
Who
he
who
is
who are you talking about?
fancies
Sorry,
him.
I've got a bit. Are you talking about
Sesko,
Cisco?
sorry. Yeah, but I'm just saying I'm not
Really?
sure if Carrick fancies him week in, week out. I think when he
Really?
first came in, it felt like he was quite happy to have Mbeumo start up front. Carrick come on as
Super
like a
sub.
Carrick come on,
Okay. Yeah,
Sesko come on as like
Cisco.
a super sub in a sense. And again, some of that could have been just trying to get him to feel his way in, and he wanted to play a certain way where you can press, and he didn't trust Sesko to press maybe. But then if he didn't trust him to press last season, why would he trust him to press this season? Because his emphasis around pressing is actually increased. Carrick's in pre-season, it looks like his emphasis on pressing high is more heightened this time round. So it seems like he wants to press high and have more control in the middle of the park. So does he see Sesko fitting into that? So we'll see. Time will tell. I could be completely wrong. But I just think we definitely need another striker, because even if Sesko comes back and starts scoring, what happens across the amount of games we're going to play this season? We've got Champions League, we've got Premier League, we've got FA Cup, we've got League Cup. So there's a lot of games potentially to play. And I think we need to do some rotation this season, because our players got burnt out last season. And I think this week has been telling, because we played on Wednesday, then we play on Saturday, and we can't beat a shit
This is
AC
us
Milan
though,
team.
is it? This is us though. This is us
Yeah.
though, isn't it? Even under Amorim, that was very obvious. Under Carrick, that was very obvious also. When we would play a second game in quick succession, we wouldn't get a result. We would not get a result, and it seems that way again. And look, I'm still got my fingers crossed, and preseason is what it is, right? I mean, based on preseason, I guess Arsenal have not been great in preseason whatsoever. Does that mean they're not going to retain their title? Maybe.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Maybe. But, but preseason, I believe, is important and does kind of show you what you've got going forward. And listen, 80% of preseason, in my opinion, has been good. I've liked what I've seen, and it's left me quietly confident. But yes, this is what it is, right? Let's say this is like your best, right? Best performance. Your drop off from that should not leave this screen. My hand should not leave this screen. Do you know what I mean? We should still be within the screen. You know what I mean? Where there's a baseline standard that even on a bad day, we can retain possession. We could create chances. Oh shit, we hit the crossbar, we hit the post. We didn't play well today. We didn't take our chances.
Yeah.
But I still feel like Manchester United go from here to who's this? Who is this team?
Yeah.
Oh my God, we're fucking awful. And why is that? Why is that? No matter who we bring in, no matter what signings we make, we've just got this seesaw of, oh, brilliant to awful. And I don't understand it, no matter who the manager is.
I mean, I think I've spoke about this a while ago, that a lot of it's as simple as the word consistency. And I think we've struggled to get a coach that's been able to give us that level of consistency. Again, I probably have to go back to, and I could be wrong on this, but I have to go back to Louis van Gaal again. I think he was probably the first coach to really introduce a level of consistency, so that everybody knew how they were playing week in, week out. And I think that's what it is for me. It's that, and I've heard comments recently that people are blaming Bruno for that loss because, okay, he missed a penalty, and that's not the reason I'd blame him for the loss, but it's more about the feel that he's changed the way we play. He's come in, he's started, and then we've gone back to that sort of counter-attacking style. Is that Bruno's fault? I don't know, but it's an interesting point to think about. However, the games prior to that, I felt that there was more of a purpose around midfield and dictating play and keep holding the ball. And I think if you go back,
finding Bruno in the right positions.
Yeah. If you look back over the possession stats, I think this is probably the first game where we've been outdone massively in possession. And I think that goes hand in hand as well. So I think if your usual game's gone out the window, is that because a player's come in, and impacted that, or is it just again because we just don't have that consistency and Carrick's not able to show this team a style of play that they can stick to and hang the hat on? And I think that's what it's been for me anyway, is that can we hang our hat on a playing style where we know even if we don't play well, we're still going to make a good account for ourselves because we'll still keep hold of the ball or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Or we're still going to do certain patterns of play where we're going to. So again, if we'd have watched this game and we lost 4-2, but we'd have hit the post twice, we hit the crossbar once, we took a shot
this is what I'm saying.
wide, we're peppering the goal. The keeper was fantastic and was probably a man of the match type thing for AC Milan. Then you could probably look at things differently. But because you haven't seen that, and there was times where, and I'll say this lastly on this point, is that I was watching that game and we hadn't touched the ball for 5 minutes.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
It's crazy.
This is what I'm saying to you. You can't go from here to, again, leaving the fucking screen, in terms of standard. And that's probably the first time under Carrick where
unacceptable.
I've seen that, and that's why I was getting quietly confident. I asked you on the last show, do you feel like Carrick's kind of got a steady standard for us? And you, fair play to you, you said no, I don't think he has. And I was like, I'm quietly confident every time we play now. I'm pretty confident that we're going to put up a decent performance. I'm pretty confident that we're going to create chances. I'm pretty confident that we're going to be half solid. And boom, here comes this game yesterday. I mean, is it just a bad day at the office? Is it?
It could be.
Amorim knows the players, knows their weaknesses, and he took advantage of it. I mean, is it that simple? Is it that simple?
I think it's a combination. I think you're right. It's a good point about Amorim because again, I said it early in the show. He's not a terrible coach. There is a coach in there, and I think you're right. I think whether you believe it or not, you're just throwing it out there for devil advocate or not, there could be an element that he's thinking, you know what, Bruno's on the pitch, this player's on the pitch, they're going to just do this.
Yeah.
And we can nullify this because he might think, right, they've got Tielemans and Santos, both raising the technical floor. How can we ruin their game plan? Because their game plan will be to have the ball. Neither of us are at home, so they ain't got that home advantage. So they're going to try and take the sting out of the game and keep hold of the ball. How do we stop them doing that? Right, this is what we do, man for man. See what you do now. Play your patterns now. We're going man for man. What are you going to do now? And pretty much we had no answer to it. But Carrick's done that to other teams in this pre-season where he's gone. He did to PSG, to be fair. He sort of nullified them a little bit at times, and they were struggling. They had to go down the sides with like a Mendes coming on, or I don't think Hakimi played, did he? But it did nullify them. Apart from that early goal, it did nullify them for quite a long period of time. So everybody got excited about that because they thought, it's PSG, we've beat PSG or whatever. But like I say, the same old stuff come back to haunt you. And again, I don't want to be a hypocrite and say pre-season doesn't matter, but then when we lose, pre-season does matter. But I think pre-season does matter in the sense of fitness, seeing some patterns and getting the team up to speed. My disappointment is you can lose a game. Like Wrexham's is a distant memory, but losing that last game before the season starts next week, that I've got an issue with that, especially when the holes in the squad have just come to the fore and it's right in front of your face. Thinking, oh shit, last season's come back to hit me in the face. That's my problem with it.
Yeah, and we're quite fragile as a fan base now. We're quite fragile as a team mentally, where the first sign of oh shit, we panic because it's been 13, 14 years of ups and downs,
PTSD sort of stuff, isn't it?
It's tough, right? Michael's come in and said, which left back do y'all think we should sign to replace Shaw in the lineup? And I brought up Jed Spence earlier because I think young, energetic. I think it could have been a decent signing, just come off a World Cup where he performed half decent. Listen, there's a list of names out there that's going to be better than Shaw, Michael, to be honest. And I could give you a list of 5 or 6 players. I can't ring them off the top of my head now. But the reason
Lewis Hall would be one for me.
Lewis Hall's the other one we've been linked to. Obviously, that's looking like 60, 70 million.
But I've got to be very honest. I haven't seen enough of his games to know if he's that great defensively. Because when you see compilations, it's all about him going forward and beating a player and crossing the ball,
do you know,
that sort of thing.
Michael,
I don't know how good he is defensively, to be fair.
You've actually kind of triggered my next point on what I wanted to kind of speak about and ask Dan. We've still got a bunch of players out of fucking position. You
Yeah,
know, I'm getting a little bit fed up with this. We've got players out of fucking position, you know. What
yeah,
is Dorgu? You've just asked me a question of who we could sign
yeah,
for left
yeah,
back.
yeah.
What the bloody hell is Dorgu? Because he's not a left winger. Let's have it right. He's not. He's not
No,
good enough to be a left winger, yeah?
not for
Is
me.
he a left back or not, for fuck's sake? Yeah? What is
Yeah,
Cunha? He's playing fucking number 9 for Brazil. What is he doing for us here? Because I'm
yeah,
sorry, he looked completely fucking lost yesterday.
yeah.
And he is
Oh
touch
yeah,
and go, isn't he,
I
Cunha,
forgot you were
in
playing
our
at
team?
times. Yeah,
He is touch and go, Cunha. He's moments of brilliance, and then is Cunha playing? You know, is Cunha a left winger? No, he's not, is he? He's not. Is Cunha a number 9? No, he's not. Is Cunha a number 10? I think, what is in Burma? Is in Burma a right winger? Is in Burma a striker? Is in Burma a
yeah.
number
I
10?
I would say he's
Do you
more a winger
understand?
in
But
Burma,
do
but I
you
know where you're coming
understand
from. Yeah,
where
yeah,
I'm getting to
yeah,
here?
yeah.
Yeah. We've
You haven't
fucking
got
got a bunch of
specialists, have we?
players. We got a bunch of players that play everywhere.
Yeah, because people are talking about playing
Hence
Rashford up
why,
front while Sesko's out, so it's
hence
crazy.
why, you know what? I've just answered my own fucking question. That's why we've got this to this.
Yeah,
Because we
yeah.
don't
There's
have
that as well.
players that play in their consistent places and their consistent
Yeah,
roles. And,
and that's why that word consistency is the answer, because it's not just tactics, it's not just the way we play, it's who plays where. I was
you
saying
know,
something in
what's
my one of my
Hamad?
shows where's Mazraoui played the most? I actually don't know the answer to that because I've seen him at left back, centre
I've seen
back,
him at
right
centre
back,
back.
right
I've
right
seen him in
wing back,
midfield
left
once,
wing
in it,
back.
when he was in midfield once for someone.
Yeah,
For Amorim,
number
maybe.
10 or whatever.
Yeah, no, that was it. Number 10 for Ten Hag.
Yeah.
I don't remember. And we've just still got players where their profile is not obvious.
Yeah.
And you start to put a team of players together where you're like, Cunha left wing. Okay, he's done great for us last season, you know. Is he a left winger? No. Ahmad, right wing back, probably his best performances for us. Now on right wing, looked half. Is he a right winger, Ahmad? Yeah. Would you say that's
Yeah.
him cemented?
Yeah. This is it.
Xerxes, another one. Michael's just thrown that name in there. Cunha is more like Xerxes, 9.5. But for Wolves, he was a winger striker 10. You've just given me 3 roles that he played for Wolves. And that's fine when you're the biggest fish in the sea. You're playing for Manchester United. You need to have your specialist position here. Dorgu is being converted to a winger because he's definitely not a left back, but a wing back. I mean, even Michael coming in here, like explaining to me what all these players are.
There's like loads of positions there.
It's loads of positions for each player.
In one paragraph, there's loads of positions,
You
and
know,
that's just two
and I
players.
appreciate you
That could
coming
be a
in,
whole
Michael.
team almost. That in terms of
Yeah,
positions.
that's it. I appreciate you coming in and doing this because you've just confirmed exactly what I've just said. Xerxes, what is he? And we've got a team where these players on their day, fantastic, because they somehow have a day where they fit into their 9.5 role. Or Cunha has a day where he's, off the wing, he brings it into the centre, plays a nice 1-2 with Bruno, and boom, goal. Sesko has a day where, the ball gets fed to him in a perfect position and he has a one-touch finish. We are struggling to find players that are specialists in their positions. And yesterday was a sure sign of that. And you know what? That is the explanation for yesterday. And that is the explanation for our consistency. We do not have players that are specialists in their position and that are disciplined in their roles in their position. You look at the biggest team in the world, PSG, right now. Dembele is a specialist right winger. Kvaratskhelia, I never say his name properly, is a specialist left winger. You know what I mean? They even had a Gonzalo Ramos, who's a specialist striker. Granted, he didn't play many games for them. But it's specialist players in their positions.
Yeah.
Vitinha, Neves, I don't even want to say their fucking names. But they are specialist players in their position. They do the job of keeping the ball, not losing it, and giving it to players that can create things. Because they certainly fucking can't create anything. Trust me on that. Right? We are really struggling to find specialist players, and I don't know, Dan. You can't fix that now. Rashford's come back into the team. Let's segue to that. I've just gone on a rant, Dan, because it feels like that's the answer to our issues. Rashford comes back. Doesn't look bad. You know, I like him closing down one of the lost causes that Martinez sent him on, because that's what Martinez does. He sends you on lost causes. Now and again, he'll send you a perfect ball over the top. And even then, you've got to take a great touch and finish to finish one of those, right? Because you're going to have a defender on your back, breathing down your back. But anyway, Rashford closed his player down, slide tackled in, brought the ball in. Rashford looks strong, athletic, fit. What's Rashford going to do in this team? You know, where's he going to fit in this team? How do you feel about Rashford in his performance yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, I watched it thinking he did. He performed in a way that he had almost had to, because he will know he's coming back to pressure. He will know that a lot of fans don't want him back. He will know that he's embarrassed that he thought he was saying goodbye to everybody and not returning because he's going to stay at Barcelona. So I think he was sort of busting a gut a little bit and charging around the pitch. But I could be wrong, but I don't think that'll last. I think it'll quickly catch up with him where he just don't want to be here. Now, okay, it looks like Carrick might have talked him round and given him a little bit of boost potentially. And obviously, my hope is that Carrick's right, because I think Carrick will play him. I think Carrick really likes him. And obviously, if he's going to stay, I think he will get minutes. He probably won't start against Hull, but he will get a lot of minutes, I think, this season if he stays. I just don't see him using that energy throughout, because I've never seen him do that throughout. And I just think he was desperate to sort of shut the critics up a little bit and maybe just get one of those long range strikes that, you know, sort of stings the palms of the goalkeeper and goes in or whatever, and then people
Yeah,
help his
everyone
back
goes,
sort of thing.
ooh.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if that number 9 helped him either. I know they were saying, because that's another thing as well, which was quite funny, is that they've had to put a statement out, Manchester United, to say that the numbers
Temporary
don't mean
numbers.
anything.
Yeah,
They're
temporary
just for
numbers.
this match, and I just think that number 9 would have triggered people. So it was tricky for him. I think he did okay, is the best I can say.
Yeah.
And I liked that he looked like he was putting effort in, but I just thought there was a hidden reason for that. And it was more to do with the flack he might get if he didn't. Because you can imagine him coming on and his shoulders are just like shrugged down and he's just like, can't be asked. That would never have
Yeah.
worked. So I think he's just done that because, and again, some of it could be to try and put himself in the shop window last minute as well. Because we forget there's still a couple of weeks left of the transfer market or whatever it is. So he might still be trying to get a team to come in for him yet. But yeah, I wasn't thinking, oh my God, Rash back, and he's going to be scoring loads of goals and he's going to be an absolute asset for us. We're going to need him though, by the way, because if he's going to stay, we're not going to buy a winger. And he's going to probably disrupt us buying certain players if he stays because of the salary and all this sort
Yeah.
of stuff. So he's going to have a good season for us. But no, in terms of
Yeah.
yesterday, I wasn't moved in any way, really. I just thought, yeah, that's Rashford. He's come back on the pitch. It's weird to see him, and he's busted a little bit of a gut, but he has to, and that's all I really thought about, really. I had no other really feelings on it, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, Michael comes in and said he holds his reservation on Rashford till the end of the window. Bring back Garnacho. He is a specialist. Yeah. He's
Specialist
been,
twat.
yeah, he's been awful, hasn't he? Bless him. Rashford is looking for a new club or a new contract. That's why he was decent. Yeah, look, I'm going to be honest on my take on Rashford. I was excited, weirdly, to see him back. I haven't forgotten that, you know, he's a Man United player, and yes, I've also haven't forgotten that sometimes he throws his toys out of the pram, and professionalism isn't his best attribute. You know, he's got this lazy attitude look to him, as you know, you say retching resting bitch face to certain people, and they're not bad people. Sometimes these resting bitch face people, that's just the way they are. And I do feel like that kind of gets blurred with Rashford a little bit. His kind of body language and persona is that natural kind of slouchy, you know what I mean? And I think he gets a lot of flack for that. But I mean, rightfully so. We're not going to go through the list of the bad things he's done and bad decisions he's made since being at Manchester United. But he has shown me some amazing moments, and that year under Ten Hag, I won't forget. He was fantastic. Everything he touched turned to gold. Scored
Yeah.
some great goals, and part of me is like, if we can get that Rashford back for this season, we could get a Burmo doing what he did last season. We could get Cunha doing what he did last season. We could get Sesko to figure out, how all this muscle on his frame can stop having him injured. Apparently, a shin problem for Sesko seems to be getting worse and worse and be a bigger issue than we first thought. I mean, putting on weight won't help you, mate. I tell you that. Um, but if all of these front forward players can have a good season, and then you add Rashford into double figures as well, Dan, you're looking at a title challenge. And I know that's so different to where this show's been, but that's why it excites me, because it's like, come on, Rashford.
But what do you do with the defence if that's the case, though?
Yeah, I mean,
You can't win a title with that defence. I'm sorry, but you can't. There's no way. I
no.
know Shaw got a blame for a lot of those goals, but when you look at, even though I know one of them looked like it was offside, to be fair, but again, who cares? No VAR. It's a friendly. However, I have massive concerns about that defence and the fact that we don't have a centre back partnership. There's
Yeah.
no centre back partnership.
No, there isn't. No. You're right. You're
We're
spot on.
screwed for that reason.
The defence looked awful yesterday, didn't it? We were screaming
We'll
for
win games. Don't get me
fire.
wrong. We'll win games, and we'll probably do okay if everything goes well elsewhere. But that defence, especially when our midfield's not sorted, it's going to be an issue. It really is.
Yeah, Michael says Rashford has seen what happens to his mates, from Sancho to Lingard to Depay to Greenwood to Pogba. So if he wants to keep earning good wages, he knows he has to do his job, because he might never get a club. It's so funny. I sent something in our chat the other day, and it was, Jose Mourinho's rant about football heritage and the players that he has at his disposal now, and look at where they are now. Remember that rant that he had? You see where they play, see if they play. And the list, right, was like Pogba, Martial, Rashford. Who am I missing? Anyway, the point is I'm missing quite a few here. All of these players are free agents and haven't got a club.
Oh, yeah. People don't want to touch Sancho, yeah.
All of these players don't have clubs anymore. And Rashford, Michael's right. It's make or break now, isn't it, for his career?
It is.
And that's why it excites me. I want the underdog success story to happen. And I say underdog, the geezer's on 350k a week or whatever he's on. Yeah.
We'll probably just save.
He's fine, isn't he, Dan? He's fine.
Yeah, of course he is. From that perspective, financially, yeah, he's not bothered, is he, in that sense? I mean, if he's interested in football still, he needs to go for it, doesn't he? This has to be his redemption. And to be fair, talking about it, I'm sure he will give that a go, because I think he'll have a good start to the season, because again, the window's still open. So if that's what he really wants,
where do you play Rashford? Where do you play Rashford, Dan?
I think,
Sesko's injured. Let's say Sesko doesn't start the season. Maybe doesn't start the first 2 or 3 games. That's the news that I seem to be hearing, is that this shin problem, which we thought was a minor at the end of last season, keeps carrying over. So he's obviously got some sort of shin splints or something. And once you pick that up, it's very tough to shake that, especially when you're doing a lot of running, right? As simple as that.
Yeah.
The only way to shake shin splints is stop jumping, stop running, and let's do bodybuilding for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, and you know what's so funny? That's what's happened. The geezer's put on a bit of size because maybe he's like come off of his feet a little bit. But you're a footballer, pal. You need to be running. You need to be doing stuff with your feet. But anyway, let's say Sesko doesn't start the season. You just said Rashford doesn't start. If he does come on, Rashford, what is it? You're taking Burmo off as striker. You take Cunha. I guess it's game dependent. But for you, where do we play Rashford? Where do we get the best out of Rashford?
Good question. I think the best Rashford has been off the left and almost being allowed to do what he wants, whether it's drift inside, do his chop, take a shot from distance, that type of thing. I don't think the problem is I don't think he's the best crosser of the ball. I don't think he's the best at short passing. I've said this before. I think he can do a switch, which can be nice at times, but in regards to creativity, I just don't think he's creative, really. So I think he'd have to work on that a lot, and I think his best position would be off the left. However, does he play as a number 9? Because is there an element of that 9 on the shirt a sign of where Carrick might see him playing? I don't know, because again, I don't see us buying a striker. So does he play as a number 9? And I did fancy Cunha playing 9 until yesterday, because I thought he looked all right for Brazil doing that sort of 9 role, but he was absolutely non-existent yesterday. I mean, a lot of that could be trying to get match fitness and stuff like that, I appreciate, but I think I prefer Cunha to have more of a free role from that. I know he's not a winger, but a free role from that left-hand side and drift in and do what he can. I don't see him as a striker. And I don't like Mbeumo up there either, so it might sound contradictory in a sense, but I probably see Rashford right now as a 9, because that's kind of vacant, because Xerxes can't do it. And Mbeumo's been okay in pre-season, but I don't like him there. And Cunha's not a 9 for me, so probably a 9 until Sesko's back, to be fair. Don't know.
I think I totally agree with you. And let's forget yesterday's game for a second and go off what we have seen. And that was Andre Santos and Tielemans finding Bruno in the right places. I think if you find Bruno in the right places and you've got a fast Rashford in behind, I think it could be dangerous. I think it could be dangerous.
I've had a decent connection in the past, so yeah.
And I just feel if he can get a few goals, get a few hugs from his teammates, get a few cheers from the fans,
a bit loved. Yeah.
You know, we could have a secret weapon and a new signing. And I know a lot of United fans don't want to hear that, and I know a lot of United fans have lost faith in him. But this is where we're at. And he's on 350k a week, so let's hope he earns it. You know what I mean? That's it. Yeah. That's all I'm saying to that. And then you threw Xerxes in there. Does he fit in? I'm getting a lot of feedback from stuff I've watched, that people that have gone to see training, people like Rio Ferdinand and other people that have posted stuff about training. There seems to be always a little caveat that Xerxes got something about him. And it's because of his little, his control of the ball, his little 1-2s, and he'll nutmeg someone. He'll nutmeg someone and then play a 1-2 with someone. He'll play someone in. And I've always said that, haven't I, Dan? There's something about Xerxes that I do like.
Yeah, me
what
too.
Do you think about? We thought we were going to part ways with him this season, but he's still in the team. Where do you think he fits in here? Does he play? Does he start as striker? Where do you think he's at here in this team?
I just think when you've got a player that classes himself as not a striker, but was brought in as one, I think that's curtains for me. I think where he plays is he comes on if Carrick dares to take Bruno off, and he's more of a 10 for me. There is bits of him I like, but then I just don't think it suits this team. I've said it from day one. I don't think he's a striker because he's got no pace. I don't think he's strong enough to hold defenders off. I don't think he strikes the ball properly. I think he can finesse a shot and it can look nice when it goes in, but he can't header the ball. He can't find space properly for me. He's not one of those people that can find space like a traditional number 9 can back in the day, an Andy Cole, a Shearer, even a Harry Kane of today. I just don't think he's a number 9 in that sense either. I think he can do some nice stuff, like you've just said there, where he could nutmeg someone, lay it off and get it back, but then he doesn't bust a gut to get the ball back when he loses it. He has no hunger to score goals for me either. I think there was a bit of I think the only thing he could do, was that against AC Milan, where it came, or was it the last game, where it came across
the last
box
game, yeah.
And it came across the box quite quickly, and he got decent connection on it, to be fair, but it was the only thing he could really do. But having said that, you see him do that countless times where it's a tame shot, and he'll just frustrate. And trust me, if he was playing, it would frustrate the hell out of you, him trying to play as a number 9, because he, like I say, doesn't hit the ball properly. He fluffs it more than not, or he passes it to the keeper more than not. And it's just not for me. I just don't think he's a player for Manchester United. I don't think he's up to the speed of the Premier League. I think he needs to go back to Italy and say, thanks for giving it a try, Xerxes, but you're not a Man United player.
Mm.
So I find it hard to place him in the team. But
Yeah.
if you're going to play him, it would have to be some sort of link up where it is a 10 role where he's trying to connect between the
Got ya.
midfield and the
Yeah, I agree.
striker.
Yeah.
But
It's funny though, Dan. So
Bruno
what you're
just plays
saying.
every minute.
Yeah, well, yeah. So what you're saying is Rashford's ahead of him in the
Oh
striker
yeah.
department for you?
I mean, let's not be daft.
Wow.
I think for me, I don't. It's not that I don't like. I've always liked Rashford. I've got no issue with Rashford. Obviously, I don't know him, but I've got no issue with Rashford.
Yeah.
Generally, it's more that his professionalism's let him down, and I don't feel he's fulfilled his real potential, and it's been a shame. And the fact that he's brought himself to a point where he felt Man United's done for me, I'm going to Barcelona. That's a problem for me. But generally speaking, him as a player and what he's done at England, I know there's not loads that he's done, but some of his performances for England, I did see bits and pieces for Barcelona, so it kind of shows you what he can do.
He's just come off the back of winning the
ahead
league,
of Xerxes. Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
He's just won the league as well, so there should be some hunger there. He's ahead of Xerxes easily.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, I mean, if that's the case, then bringing Rashford back is an improvement to the squad.
Yeah, because we're not buying anybody else, are we? I think if we were gonna buy, I mean, probably not some of the players that we have been linked to be fair, but if we were gonna really go, let's say we're gonna go and get Barcola, let's say we're gonna really be an ambitious team and think, you know what, Arsenal, we can catch them. City are not that great. They've got a new coach and a lost Pep. Liverpool are finding their way as well, and we thought, right, we're going to really go for it. And let's say, I mean, I'm not even a huge fan of Barcola at present, but let's say because of a name, we're going to really go for Barcola one side. We're going to go for a backup striker. It could be just Ollie Watkins or something. Then you're not really thinking about Rashford. You can think, right, see you later, Rashford, we don't need you. But because we're in the situation we're in, and we've bought two players, really, I know Darlow's like a third, and Teenan Thompson, if you want to call him a fourth.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, we've bought two recognised players, and the fact that Rashford's come back and nobody wants him, we're kind of starting to see Rashford in a different light now and saying, what if he plays like he played for Barcelona? What if he plays like he did under Ten Hag? Because you've kind of said it yourself, but probably haven't realised you're doing a lot of revisionism in a sense, where it's what it used to be like. Let's hope he can do it again for us. And I just think against the AC Milan, I know he's just come on, he hasn't really played much, you could say, but would you expect him to have done a bit more to show you to think, actually, he's just beat two or three guys, passed the ball in and we've scored, or he's just taken a wicked strike from the edge of the area and it's gone top corner? You'd be thinking, that's the Rashi I know. He could do something for us this season. But again, I don't think you're thinking about him if we did what we were supposed to do in this transfer market. But because we haven't, we're starting to think, ooh, maybe Rashford could do something here. Ooh, what about our youth players? Lacey could do something. Ooh, JJ Gabriel could do something. We're kind of there now at the moment, unfortunately.
Yeah, we're hanging on. We're trying to hang on to strings and positivity, if we're honest. You know what I mean? Michael came in and said, having everyone be a 9 and wingers at the same time, if executed properly, would be a nightmare for defenders. In a game where starting Cunha and Burma and Rashford, and any of them can alternate position. Listen, I totally get that. And there is pros to having players that can play multiple positions and confuse defenders across the box. Where you need specialists in position is when you need discipline, Michael. Right? And what I mean by that is when the game's not going great and when you're not playing this crazy rock and roll football. And listen, Jurgen Klopp is a manager that I would love to have, right? Sometimes you need specialists and players where, listen, give us width. Stay over there, give us width, and do the job in helping your defender. We need to stay in this game and get hold of the ball and keep it 0-0. As an example, in my opinion, when you've got players that are not a specialist winger or not a specialist striker, they're just not in the right places to help the team when things are going tough, when times are tough. They're just everywhere. And yesterday was a perfect example that we were just everywhere. Players were just off it by 5 yards. The wingers were off it. The central midfielders were off it. I'm very worried about having players that play multiple positions in our team, because when the going gets tough, that's why our standard drops. That's what I'm saying. when things are going good, of course, it's all great. Cunha and Burma, Rashford,
Yeah.
Bruno playing in 3 players all at once, and they're doing all of this madness. Yeah, fantastic. But when we can't get hold of the ball and we just need everyone to be a bit more pragmatic and be disciplined in their positions, we haven't got that because we haven't got players that know their positions.
No,
That's
and
what I'm saying.
there's going back to that word consistency. There's no consistency in playing in that way, playing that sort of freestyle football. I used to hate it when Saeed used to say that, but that freestyle type football where you're just relying on a player to just do something.
Moments,
and it's fine if like for again, I always like a player that can do that, because if it's a tight game and it's 0-0, and then there's a player like a Cunha that can just jink, beat a man and just put it in bottom corner, I ain't arguing with that. It's just that I don't want to rely on that in every single game. So going back to what you're saying,
that's not how you win
the
titles.
Word consistency is, and again, I hate to say it, but I always loved the way Liverpool had their setup when they had Mane, Salah, and Firmino. Now, people are trying to say that Xerxes could be Firmino. Bullshit. Nowhere near Firmino. I'm sorry, but it really isn't. And it's just, again, Mane, you knew where he was going to play. Salah, you knew where he was going to play. And Firmino, not a striker, but it all worked as a three. When we had our three, as in like your Martial, for example, or Rashford, Sancho, whatever, again, you were doing all this madness, everybody going all over the place, and sometimes it looked beautiful. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes it looked beautiful under Ole and stuff like that at times. But again, there was no consistency in it because it was very sort of random at times. And he was just expecting Pogba to do something fantastic maybe one time, or Rashford to do something fantastic. And there was just no pattern. There was no, when you talk about drilling something into someone, there was none of that. Where, like, if you're in the army, you get up at a certain time, you do a certain drill, and you get to a point where your body just does it. You just do it without being told. And we've never really had that where things are drilled into players where they just don't need to be told anymore. Maybe now and again a coach has to shout an instruction onto the pitch and remind you of something. But generally speaking, day in, day out, week in, week out, how we're going to play. And we are very, what is it at the minute, right-sided at the moment, where a lot of things are trying to go from Boomer and Ahmad, and nothing's happening down the left. And that's another issue. Going off a bit of a tangent, but that's, again, we've got to keep coming back to that word consistency. That's our problem.
Yeah, I mean, Michael's come in and said Eddie Howe knows a thing or two about specialist footballers. And he came in the stream a little earlier saying that Eddie Howe is probably the next in line after Carrick, and that's maybe who INEOS won. I ain't thinking that far ahead. Carrick's the manager, and that's where I'm focused. I want to see what he can produce this season. But, we're heading towards the end of the show now. I'm excited to see Man City Arsenal Community Shield today, because that's always kind of the start, the kickoff. The Premier League is arriving.
Back into it, yeah.
I'm excited to see Man City, to be honest. I'm not because I want Man City to do well. Quite the opposite. I want to see how Maresca's, how he's going to crack on. I feel like there's an opening here for us. And I also feel like, yes, Arsenal have not been great in pre-season. They've only signed Bruno Guimaraes, which is a great signing. But in the grand scheme of things, I mean, does that push them forward? Maybe you think it does. I think they need a little bit more. I think they need a little bit more to kick on.
I don't think they'll need
and
to
cement it. But you're right, Dan. Look,
we aren't doing enough. The rest of the teams aren't doing enough. That's the
rest
problem.
of the teams are not doing enough. I mean,
and we've all got new coaches as well.
Quickly fast forward to the whole game, which is, I believe, Saturday 12:30, so early kickoff. I think that's correct.
Yeah.
I'm excited, and to summarise, I think we should be getting a result there, 2 to 3-0. It's a newly promoted team. I remember years ago, I think it was under Sir Alex Ferguson, where we lose to them in the opening game of the season, and they were newly promoted. I may be getting confused. It may not have been Hull. There was someone we lost.
There was a team like that, probably. Yeah.
Under Fergie, and I just
it's easy done.
I've got a funny feeling that could happen again. How are you feeling about Hull? Who starts, do you believe, in midfield, up front? Because we don't really know, do we?
It's hard, isn't it? I've been trying to work that out from pre-season in a way.
So just give us a quick, a look ahead into Hull before we finish the show. Let's start with midfield. Go for it.
Yeah, so midfield. Just trying to think of how he's been playing. It feels like, so I felt until Mount got injured, it was going to be Santos and Mount. That's what I felt. I think now that Mount's got injured, I still think it's going to be Santos starting.
Mm.
And a lot of people are saying that they think Mano will start, but I don't think he will. I
He
don't think
didn't
he's
look too
played
great
much.
yesterday, did he?
Yeah,
But
I
I mean,
think it's
listen,
going to
I'm
be
not going to turn this
Tillemans.
into the
Yeah, I
knock
think it'll be
Manu show.
Tillemans and Santos in the middle.
I think so.
And obviously Bruno ahead of them is what I think for the middle of the park, yeah. And then,
Yeah.
so you agree with that? And then what we're saying
Yeah,
then?
sorry.
Strike
Yeah,
front
I
line.
agree with that. And
Yeah,
listen, I want, just before we drift off the midfield, obviously I was watching
yeah,
Manu yesterday, and it's funny, he's got that same sort of, Rashford attitude that Rashford has been tarnished with, that kind of that looking sad, looking like he's not
I
too
know. Yeah,
interested sort of
yeah,
vibe. I'm not going to blame yesterday's performance on Mainu. He only played the second half, right? But he looked a little bit lost as well. The whole team did. I want Mainu to cement his position in this team. I really do. And I want Santos and Tielemans to kind of be fighting for their roles. But for me, it looks like Santos and Tielemans will start with Bruno ahead of them. We haven't spoken about Bruno. I don't want to make a big deal about it, but that's 2 penalties missed in a row. Not
yeah.
good. Because he's gone from me saying he's the best penalty taker in the world to now being a bit ropey. Missing 2 in a row is a big deal. I don't care what anyone says. When you're a top penalty taker, you cannot be missing 2 in a row. But anyway, he's scored enough for us where he stays in that role. But yes, I agree. Tielemans and Santos start in midfield with Bruno ahead. Now, back over to you. Who starts on the right? Who starts as striker? Who starts on the left? Because as we've said earlier in this show, we've got a bunch of players that we don't know their fucking position.
Yeah.
So who
Yeah.
starts where for you against Hull?
Yeah, I'm thinking that on the right it's going to be Ahmad, and then I think up front it's going to be Mbuma, and then I think on the left it's going to be Cunha. Is what I'm thinking there. I've got a feeling that I don't think he's going to do the Rashford thing straight away. I think he's going to ease him into things, and I think that's going to be some of that's going to be PR stroke press sort of side of things, and not sort of chucking him in saying, "Oh, Rashford's back, let's do all this." I think it's going to be more of a let's take the heat away, let's just ease him back in. So I think he's going to do Mbuma up front, like I say, Cunha left, and Ahmad right is what I'm thinking. Whether that's right, whether that's what I'd do is different, but that's what I think he's going to do.
As Aces has come in and said United has barely beaten Hull in the opening game of basically opening games of. So I do think I was right in saying that it was
right,
Hull that we lost to. Cal Gunner's coming here. Go subscribe to him, guys. Him and Anton do a show together. I met him on the Football Terrace. Great guy. Although I always go into his stream and just give him nothing but stick about Arsenal. So here he comes doing the exact same thing to me. Fair play. That's what it's about. I'm not Carrick out yet. I don't think Dan is also Carrick out yet. We're just kind of like, let's, we need more. He needs to be backed more as well, Carrick.
Yeah, I'm not Carrick out. I'm backing him. I just wasn't Carrick in the first place.
That's the truth.
Out. Now he's in, I'm not out.
Yeah, you're just kind of neutral, right? Michael confirms. Yeah, we lost to Hull during Sir Alex Ferguson's time, but it wasn't the opening game of the season. It was Swansea we lost to. Okay, well, I mean, that's not good reading. Full stop. You know what I mean? I think it will be our Leeds lineup that will start the game. I don't remember that lineup, but good to know. I'll have a look at it after. I was in Dublin on Wednesday for Leeds game, and Croke Park and Bruno Fernandes looks like he wants to leave by his body language. Yeah, I mean, that's thrown me off a little bit there. I don't think Bruno wants to leave. I think he's getting a little bit. He's had a lot of instructions over the years, hasn't he, Dan?
Yeah, definitely.
He's had a lot of instructions from a lot of managers, and he's coming off a bad performance in the World Cup, and again, a lot of instructions from another different manager. He doesn't know whether to go left or right anymore. I think maybe Carrick's telling him stop getting involved. In fact, I hope Carrick's telling him stop getting involved in the build-up. And I think Bruno's like, I like getting involved in the build-up. And he's maybe getting a bit frustrated that he's not getting the ball in the positions enough that he wants. Bruno likes having a lot of touches of the ball. He likes being the main guy of this team, and maybe he's being told that he's not that anymore. He needs to be disciplined. And it's funny, that's another player, by the way. We know his best position's the number 10. but he also wants to be a jack of all trades. He also wants to be a 6, an 8,
I
a
know that
10.
was worrying when he said he likes playing 6. I was like, no, please, no. But
You
yeah,
know,
he
and I
seems
think
to
I
like
think
it.
that I think that's why the frustration and body language is there for Bruno. He wants to play 6, 8, and 10, but he needs to realize this is a team sport, mate. You know, you need to be
Yeah.
disciplined in your position, trust your teammates to get the ball there. And listen, if they don't, I understand his frustration.
He's used to being a hero, though, isn't he? So I think he just needs to adapt and get trust. And I think that'll come when he starts to get trust in the fact that the ball will come from Santos or it will come from Tillemans,
Which I think
who,
it
as a
has.
quick side note, I don't think them two worked, by the way, but it was only one game. I
No,
just
you're
didn't
right.
think it worked.
Yeah.
And strangely, the best combination's been Santos and Mount, but again, it's pre-season. But yeah, I think once he gets used to those two players and starts to trust them more, I think he just needs to stay in that 10 area. And he would drop in deep a bit against AC Milan, Bruno again, trying to be the hero,
Because the
trying to pick up the
frustration,
ball.
Dan, he can
Yeah,
see
of
the
course it
team
is. Because
struggling.
it
He can
won't get
see,
in there, was it? Yeah,
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 he can see the team struggling. I understand why he's
yeah,
doing it. I'm not here to
yeah,
back Bruno, but like
yeah.
he is captain. He's taken initiative to hang on a minute. We're fucking struggling here. The midfielders are struggling. They're all over the place. Right, let me go and take responsibility. And that's a good trait. That is a good trait. But yes, I agree. And this is exactly what I've just said. You know, Michael says he's 65 million is the release clause. Let someone activate it. Bruno should focus on the final phase of play. Let him trust the midfielders behind him. That's why Amorim played him in the mid. So, yeah, you've basically summarized what I've said there, Michael, and what Dan agrees with. Yes, he needs to be disciplined and just kind of let his midfielders do the job. Well, when they're not doing the job, what do you want him to do? Just stay up there? Completely ignore that he's captain? Completely ignore that, not take responsibility? It's a tough one,
Mm.
isn't it, Dan?
Yeah,
We
it is.
haven't got good enough players. Is that the summary of it? I don't
Yeah,
know.
pretty
I don't
much,
know.
yeah.
Anyway, listen, it's not been, I mean, it's been a great show, I think. Every time we do a show, it's been a great show, but it's not been the most positive show, and rightfully so after that performance. But overall, I'm looking forward to the season starting. I think we should be getting 2 wins from two. I I didn't say my starting lineup. Let me quickly do that. I think Ahmad needs to start. He's looked good in pre-season.
Yeah.
He's actually really good at nicking the ball, isn't he?
Well, here's
Off
the
the
trigger for the
defender.
high press. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
he presses really well, and listen, I like that, and he's shown a lot. He's very strong, isn't he, Ahmad? His center of gravity, and
yeah. For his
he's a
size, yeah.
strong fella for his size. He doesn't get pushed off the ball too often, and
Mm.
when he goes 50-50 into a challenge, he's. I remember playing in school days already, and there was always one guy that you would go absolutely gung ho into 50-50 with him, but somehow. He just had a stronger
Come out
leg,
with the ball.
stronger. He'd come out with the ball. Do you know what I mean? And Ahmad's got that. Ahmad's got that about him. I can see it. So I like that. So I think he starts. I think Cunha has to start on the left, which again, I don't think he is someone who should start on the left. And I think Burmo should be our striker because he's been great in pre-season. So
Mm.
Cunha and Burmo, Ahmad. Bruno in behind, Santos, Tielemans, and then, inshallah for the rest of it. You know what I mean? That's where we're at. Le Mans, we haven't touched base on him, but Le
Hope
Mans
and
didn't
pray at
look.
the back.
Yeah, Le Mans did not look great yesterday either. But anyway,
No, he
Dan,
didn't. No, he didn't. Yeah.
thanks for doing this show on a Sunday. We'll try and cap it there on an hour because it is our Sunday. Appreciate everyone who's been here. We've had maybe 5 or 6 people in at once, so that's been great. That's good for us. That's good numbers for us. Hopefully one day we'll have 60 in here at once. I think we deserve that. But listen, let's look forward to watching Arsenal Man City first. It's not the opening game of the season, but Community Shield's always that little bit of a
It's the
right.
curtain raiser in a sense, isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly, the curtain raise. A quick prediction for that, Dan, before we head out.
Oh, yeah. Not really thought about it actually. I do see Arsenal just doing that. I'll go with 2-1. I'll go with 2-1.
2-1, 2 corners from Arsenal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Gabriel playing.
Yeah, exactly. So you think Arsenal will go 2-1? I think we may have a shock and City completely sweep Arsenal away. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, the Premier League's
Yeah.
wide
City gonna
open.
win. Yeah.
Who's gonna do it? You know what I mean? That's what I'm hoping for, actually, if I'm honest, because I want an open Premier League season because I think an open Premier League season with the start that we have, if we can just ignore the AC Milan game. Like I said, I feel like we can build momentum and really kick on. We just need some of these players to show up and perform. Yeah, Cal's coming most likely 2 corners. If City beat us, I'm saying we beat the curse. Yeah, the Community Shield's not been have Arsenal done great in that game? I don't think they have. Maybe Cal, you can help
but
me
Pep's
out
gone
here.
now.
Yeah, Pep has gone, so it's tough. But have Arsenal
Major
done too
factor
great
that,
in the
I
Community
think.
Shield? I mean, they haven't played many Community Shields, have they? Because they haven't won. Well,
Yeah.
they've won a few
Is that
FA
a
Cups down
little
the road, but
behind the? Yeah, is that a little
of
dig
course
that you're doing there?
it's a dig. Of course it's a dig. You know, of course it's a dig. They haven't played
For
many
your
Community
benefit,
Shields
Cal.
because they. Yeah, yeah. Look, we won most of them. There he goes. We won most of them. Okay, Cal. Well, there you go. So maybe you'll kick on and win again. Guimaraes should start. Rice should start. I mean, that's a solid
It
midfield,
is.
isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
Two
Yeah.
wrestlers in midfield. You know, literally, Brock Lesnar and CM Punk in the middle of the park is what they've got there. That's me being a bit
Just
salty
need
because I
to
would
add
take.
expressions in there. It's
Yeah,
nice little
exactly. As
three
fresh as
then.
is in TNA wrestling now. Yeah.
Neck brace and everything.
Yeah, he does his shows with neck brace. It's quite cool. Fair play. He smashed it, mate. But
Yeah, definitely.
listen, I would take either one of them in our midfield now. And Michael came in earlier before we close the show here. Can we just get our marquee signing to lift the mood of the fan base? But at this point, it's wishful thinking.
But what's your quickly? What's your thoughts? Do you think we're going to get a decent signing before the end of the window? What's your thoughts on that?
Carrick's come out and said before. I think it was before the AC Milan game that we're not done in the window. We need more. Carrick's not the type of manager to come out against the board, is he? That's why he's got the job.
Definitely not. Definitely not. So there must be something in the pipeline, you would have thought.
There must be something in the pipeline. Just what is it? What is it? Because there's, just before we came on the show, we decided last minute, didn't we, Dan, that we're going to do a show on a Sunday. I quickly went and checked. What's going on? Is there anything obvious? Nothing.
Nothing.
There's absolutely
You're just
nothing.
hoping that there's a secret thing like Tillerman's brewing, but that's all you've got, a hope and pray settings again. But
even then, you what we're going to do? Bring in one player, 2 players? I mean,
I feel there might be 2 that comes through, but I'm just not overly confident.
That's what I feel.
I think 2 will come through. Yeah.
But when?
When? What level of player?
Game. We've got the whole game coming up. These players won't be done by then.
Yeah. If we draw against Hull, does that push them to do something? If we lose against Hull, does that push them to do something? That's the thing. It's it's a struggle in it. I just really don't know. I really can't work this board
But you know
out.
what's weird? The whole league is in this position at the moment. Even Arsenal,
fair, nobody's killing it in the transfer market. Spurs had a good start, didn't they? But they're still lacking up front.
Well, Spurs has. To be honest, that's a great point. Spurs has probably been the team that have had that wow, Tonali, Mateus Fernandes, and who's the fella from Brighton, Van
Hecker, is it?
That's
right?
it. They've kind of gone out there and got their proven players
and got what they wanted in a sense.
And if Cal is still in here viewing, even Arsenal getting Bruno Guimaraes, fantastic. But you would think the Premier League winners would go out there and get a Bruno Guimaraes and then go and get a marquee left wing. And I know the Vinicius Junior thing didn't come, but even they've struggled. And Liverpool, I mean, what have they done?
Going after Kwanzaa, is it? That I'm hearing as well. I was like, it's a bit strange.
Now I'm hearing Osimhen. I am hearing Osimhen. I mean,
I have heard that. To be fair,
I tell you what. Imagine, Dan, last 3 weeks of the we bring in an Osimhen and a Belieber as an example. And I know Belieber, that's me kind of like, who else is there for us left?
We're dropping.
But an Osimhen and a Belieber, all of a sudden you're thinking, whoa, okay.
Yeah, then you're starting to feel okay.
But
I don't know if we'll get that. I don't think we're going to get that feeling. No, we're not going to get that moment. Osimhen would be out of the reach for our board. They won't want Osimhen. It costs too much money. If it fails, they're all worried about that. But if Arsenal get him, that guy scores goals. As simple as that.
Yeah, say what you want. He scores goals. I do not understand why no one's taken a punt on him. I do not understand it whatsoever. It's crazy, crazy work. Anyway, guys, it's been emotional in the emotion room once again. Look, we haven't been too negative. It wasn't the greatest of performances. We've tried to analyze it the best we can. Let's hope 80% of preseason, which has been good, kicks on into the season, and we've got a favourable start. Let's kick on. Cunha and Burmo, Bruno, Rashford, all these players, help the team get results at the end of the day. And the defence, it's a
Hope
hope
and
and a
pray at the
prayer a
back.
little bit. It's a hope and a prayer a little bit. But anyway, guys, catch you on the next one. Dan, thanks for doing this Sunday.
All
Guys,
good,
please
all
go ahead
good.
and head over to Dan and subscribe to him. I only do this one show a week with Dan. Dan does a hell of a lot more shows, at least more than me. So head over to his show, show him some support there, and engage with him whilst he's doing his live shows. Moving forward, I'm going to try and do this show every week with Dan and then do more videos after games and before games, not lives. Go back to doing some videos of me going
Yeah.
absolutely crazy and getting emotional with myself. That's my try for this season and for Dan also. And I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, Dan, we've got some beautiful things to celebrate this season. But
Hopefully,
again, I think
hopefully.
we're in a hope and a prayer. Guys, it's
Yes.
been emotional. Catch you on the next one. See you
See you
very,
later,
very
people.
soon.